Okay, hello everyone. In today's video, I'll be talking to you about what you should do before you become a freelance engineer in Japan. I'll give you some tips or my experiences, what I've heard, and kind of things of that nature. We're just going to go straight into it. But before I go into this, this is mostly intended for workers or people currently working in Japan. If you are a person who is not in Japan working as an engineer, but you'd like to, I have links on some of my other videos which might help you. But for now, this is for engineers in Japan who want to become freelance engineers. Who am I? If you're new to this channel, I am. The channel is Devipo. My name is Tyrone, and I've been freelancing in Japan for over freelance web development for over 4.5 years. I think it's coming on to 5 years. Prior to that, I was employed in an IT company for about 3.5 years or so, and I started studying for about a year at least before I even got into my first job. So it's coming up to 9 years, nearly, probably just a bit over 8. And this video, that's my background. Just if you're new. And if you've been here for a while, sorry, I haven't been uploading as much as I'd like to. I was freelance maxing, which just means I was working from like waking up to sleep time every day for the past few months, which I'll be making a video shortly about. But sorry if I've been really slow with messaging back to people or making content that can really help you. So we've got this guy here. We're going to start off. We always start off with someone relatable. So this is one of us. Maybe there's a bit more hair on him. Maybe maybe the skin tone's different. But essentially, this represents your average engineer. Okay, so I've got our average Soyjack. Is it? I've got his name Wojak. So many people, well, not many, quite a few people have been asked. They see my videos and they go, "Oh, great, but how do I do that?" And these people might be working in Japan for at least a few years, and they're soy maxing their tech stacks with Next and all that. So we're going to go through the first steps. So before we even think about before we even think about freelancing, we're going to take this. We'll call him Jack. So we'll take Jack. Jack's going for a walk to the visa department. So we go to the visa department. Why do we have to think about visas? As you all know, if you've been here even if you haven't been here for a bit, you understand that visas are really important. And the reason we have to think about visas is that I'm going to give you my opinion about how to become a freelance engineer. If you are currently on a working visa, I think it's quite difficult for you to go and I know some of you are students, and from a student to a freelance engineering situation, I think it might be quite difficult. And in that case, I recommend you to become an employee first. You become an employee and get a proper working visa, which proper just means it's one of those generic employment visas, usually at least 1 year. I mean, usually it's 1, 3, or 5 years. If you get 5, perfect. Ideally, you want at least 1 year. Before you even think about it, I recommend you have at least 1 year left on your working visa. And the reason for that is when you're doing freelance working, you need to provide evidence that you can actually do it and that a government doesn't have to worry about you. I'll give you my case. I had 3 years. I got a 3-year working visa through my first job. So in the end, I quit my job with at least 2.5 years left on my working visa. And that just gives you time to sort out your projects, making money, showing what do you call it? Not evidence. You show evidence and show the government or immigration that you can survive here as a freelance. And of course, a lot of people can still get freelance visas on very minimal monthly incomes. So I've seen some people get their visas renewed, and I think like they're photographers and then maybe they're English teachers as freelance English teachers, and they only make around like 25 a month or even less. So talking to my immigration, always talk to your immigration lawyer first, just to double check. Don't get everything from me, because every year things change. Your case might be different. It might be different for each country. The information I got was there's like a number of like Niju Gorman or something a month, which can prove to the government that you can support yourself as a freelance worker in Japan. So I recommend give yourself 1 year, at least runway with your visa. If you have less than 1 year, I would recommend try to renew it as an employee first. Just be safe, because you don't want to get messed up. Something happens, you have to go back to your country. You're a broke bum like me. You have to pay for flights and all that. You go back to your highly expensive Western country if you're from New Zealand, Australia. So you just don't want to be in that mess. So you just have to, as the Japanese say, gamang. You have to just keep patient, or just at least 1 year. Make sure you have a proper working visa. Don't jump into this as a student. Some of you guys are students who watch this and you're going, oh yeah, man, how can I do it? And I understand, because you don't know what's happening. I'm not saying you can't get jobs straight away from a student. I'm not saying you can't, but to go from a student to a freelance, it's a big jump. It's quite a big challenge. So just be careful about that. And of course, ideally, for some of you guys here, this little community, near to that 5 year mark, when you have enough points, the point system to get yourself a permanent residency, I would say if you're near your kind of permanent residency point mark, just endure another year or so in your company until you can get the PR. Once you get that PR, it just makes everything easier for you. And of course, some of the people in this community have the wife visa, which is just a spouse visa, which you can you're just speed running the whole visa process, and that's good for you. So idea was permanent residency or the wife visa, or at least 1 year left of your visa, just in case something doesn't go right. You can still change back to becoming an employee. Okay, so Jack is ready. He's got a few years left on his visa. Let's go to the next part. Okay, Jack, let's go. We're going from the visa department to, where are we going, Jack? The skills department. Okay, Jack, this is important now. So let's say you've got your visa all sorted out or ready to go. You're fine. I'm going to I'll give you my opinion, and this might rub people the wrong way. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'll just tell you how it is. I'm a meat and potato guy, okay? Look at my curtains. I don't care about them, right? It doesn't matter. So I always say, for skill sets, and I'm sorry for some of you guys who finish boot camps or are just, new grads, to go freelance. Personally, I wouldn't hire or ask someone to join if they haven't have at least 2 years. And it might sound harsh for some people. And you essentially, freelancers, from my experience, they want you to jump in within the first month and produce something of value. And so if you are fresh and they tell you, can you fix this bug? And it's quite a simple bug, but it takes you at least 1 week. It's not a good look. And the problem with now, what you have is, if you had a cushion job, a real comfortable job, you go in a freelance world. If you don't do well in the first month, they can just cut you off, right? So you want to produce. You're selling your services essentially, and if you can't produce something of equal or greater value to what they're paying you for that month, it's not even worth it. They'll just drop you off. So at least 2 years. And then I wrote down the second part is recent. So I know some people were coding React 4 years ago, and then let's say 4 years you didn't code React. You were doing like just something really not related to it, or maybe you went into like sales or marketing. You really need that recent, because things keep changing. The hot thing now is Next. And if you know Next, it's a lot easier to get. There's so many projects out now, and very few people can actually write it quite decent. So you want at least 2 years, and recent, and in demand. These are the three things about the skill set. It doesn't mean you have to know React. It's not about that. It's about Right now, Go is quite a popular server-side language in Tokyo. I'm talking mostly in Tokyo. Angular is still out there, but it's not so used as much as Vue. So those are in demand now. Vue.js for a lot of freelance projects, small to medium size, are using Vue. Then larger scale applications now are using Next.js. I'll just give you some of my inside information here about the Next.js and the projects coming out, because everyone's a soy dev, right? Even smart guys with a lot of experience as soy devs. When Next comes out, they want everything written in Next, even though server-side rendering is not, the use case is totally not for it. I think a lot of engineers like, oh yeah, I want to do it in that, even though it's not even needed. It's probably doesn't fit the project, and I've seen it so much now. Everyone's jumping on Next, but first off, everything's nothing's server-side rendered. They don't need the SEOs like some admin screen. What's another one? They have no engineers who can actually code that can actually code Next. Oh, they have no plans of using server-side components or anything. They don't need SEO. And then everything's using just React queries from the front end. All queries done from front end. The API is separate. So there's all these things where you're probably just better off using a normal React application, because the other part is, but Tyrone, you got no, because you've never deployed this stuff before. There's all these new technologies coming out. Your engineers can't even do it yet. So that's why if you can do it, you're high demand. It's a high demand skill. Golang, Next.js, App Route, Pay Apps, the new one. Yeah, Apps, the new one. The other one, I just want to touch base. For example, some people really like Unity, and you love programming in Unity. I would suggest to you, even if you have a comfortable, well-paying job now in your company, please look at the freelance websites and see how in demand that technology is. The worst thing you do is, let's say you have a really good Angular job, you love Angular, but you look around and there's not really many Angular jobs, and there's even less Angular jobs that have English only. You're just going to quit your job and jump into an industry that, into a market doesn't need specifically you. So it's you got to be very careful how how you go through with skill sets, which I will talk about later on, about how you might want to change your tech stack to be more attractive as a freelance engineer in Japan. Just one more. Okay, another thing about the skill set. So, if you are a PHP engineer, for example, currently in your job and you're comfortable, but you want to get paid more, you might want to learn Golang. You might want to learn Nest.js, server side framework. Yeah, framework. You might want to go to Node or something. You might want to change your programming language to get paid more and to have more of that. You attract those hotter startups or hotter new little companies that are around who can pay you. That can pay you a lot more than some of, let's say, the traditional companies that stick with Java, that stick with PHP. Okay, some of them even stick with jQuery now. I'm not kidding you. There's some projects out there. See how much of a soy dev I sound like, making fun of jQuery when jQuery is pretty good by itself. Anyway, you get what I mean. You get what I mean. Okay, Jack, let's go from the skills department. Let's make our way over to the Japanese department. It's the language and culture. So when I talk about Japanese, it's of course culture as well, and I think this is really important. If you've seen any of my videos, I talk about why knowing Japanese would just make your life a lot easier. Not even just living in Japan, but I mean, yeah, of course, living in Japan, it would make your life a lot easier. It would open up so many doors in the freelance world, and so I always recommend try to get that JLPT2. Even if your Japanese is not that great, just having that 2 on your resume, it just it's a filter. They do filter that out. But I just must say this one. I have no JLPT, but I just put JLPT level 2. I know people who have 2, and I can speak a lot. I'm better at communicating. I know people who don't have it is way better than me at communicating. It is just a measurement, and when you're in places like Japan, some other countries too, these certificates have a lot of weight to them. So at least JLPT 2. And so if you're currently in an English only speaking company, so why would you, if you're in a really decent one of those Tokyo dev companies that speak English, you're getting paid well, why would you? And I think it goes back to the other video. Once you go freelance, you're pretty much, it's all up to you. And so having that freedom, in Japan, you need a level of proficiency in Japanese. So I recommend JLPT 2. While you're working in your current company, if you're working in an English only company, spend time to understand JLPT 2. There is a balance of, should I get better at coding or should I get better at Japanese in my spare time? It's really difficult. I just say, as a foreigner, get good at Japanese, because the amount of skill and talent in Japan is so low, because of the population. A lot of companies are trying to automate everything, the digital transformations everywhere, DX everywhere. So you put yourself in a better position. Get the JLPT 2. If you're already in Tokyo and you get a decent amount of income, try and go to like some business classes. Yeah, there's quite a few of them around Tokyo. You spend a few hours a night, get that business level, or even go to a language school on the weekends. I can't stress this enough. If I couldn't speak Japanese, I wouldn't be freelancing, because I think it's just so hard to get. I've tried to reach out to some English speaking companies in Japan, but I don't know, if I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get projects. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. Maybe I need to spend more time to do it. Anyway, Japan has a Japanese market, so just learn Japanese and get good. Okay. Next department. Okay, Jack, let's go to the next department. The department is savings department. This would be called maybe the Department of Economics or Finances. Okay, Jack, so you're going to freelance. That means that you are vulnerable to be laid off anytime, or your contracts will end and you might have at least 1 month. You might have 1 month of nothing, of not working. You might have 2 months of not working. You might even have 3 months of not working. So we have to prepare ourselves for the worst case, that you can't find a project, or the worst case that, you just don't have a job. Which, in my experience, I've never not had a project, right, for for more than a month, actually. Yeah, a month. It just goes to show that even a soy dev like me with subpar Japanese can constantly be getting projects. And now I'm at like the 4.5 year of freelancing, and I'm really billing quite a lot now. Okay, it's not like some type of flex or anything like that. No, look, I'm just a meat and potatoes guy. Tell it as it is. I'm making over nearly double what I was as an employee, probably more than that. I mean, it's not easy. I'm not saying, oh, this is easy, anyone can do it, but you see, it can go up and down. It can go anywhere. But the market we see right now, honestly, it's great. I know that Americans, YouTubers are like, everyone's scared because they're losing their jobs. But I honestly, I just don't see it in Japan. Yeah, that's a video for that's a topic for a separate video. So let's just keep it safe and have 3 month savings. What does that mean? That means let's think food. First off, rent. You got to pay your rent. So I would recommend you keep your rent under Juman. That's the 1,000 Juman rent. Don't go over Juman. If you're a single guy by yourself, hey, if you can go Goman, like just before you, okay, I don't know how to. You're going in. You become a service or a business, right? You want to reduce your costs, your running costs. And I know that you go, but I want to live in Shibuya next to like all the cool people. And no, you're going freelance. This is not about being cool. It's about being smart about your money. It's about being solid, like a rock, right? Or wall. Okay, I don't know how to explain it. Find a gourmand place. go to a really shitty share house or something, right? So that you, so I lived in, I think I'll link the other video. The rent was some on a month, but I was making way more, of course. But I was just really, like, really careful. Okay, can I first secure a really good project for at least 6 months? Then, okay, I might move into somewhere a bit nicer. Find cheap rent just outside Tokyo, around Goman or something. In your current job, save up for 3 months, which means 3 months of rent and 3 months of your food. And then maybe for other, like your expenses, like your internet and stuff like that. So you can just say, let's just make it real simple. 3 months. No one, let's be honest, no one's saving these days. Very few people. So let's say under Juman for your rent, and under Juman, around Juman for your food and just whatever. So that's Nijuman you want to save. You want to have per month for emergency. This is emergency. You do it for 3 months, so you have at least 60만 in your savings, right? Put that in your savings. At least that. Yes, this is all the single guys out there. There you go. At least that. If you want to go 6 months, that's fine too. If you have family and kids, hey, this is now it's getting really serious because you have people dependent on you. So you might be able. I don't know if you go international. I don't know what you do with your kids and your family. So you got to rank that up more. I'd say if you have kids and a family, you might even want to save out 200만 for, let's say, 4 months or something, right? You have people depending on you. So most cases you guys don't need that much because you're alone and you watch anime and you collect Pokemon cards. And yeah, so it's really important to understand why is this important. Okay, I keep talking too much, but it's important because you don't want to push yourself into a really trash project. And I'll talk about this in another video. I call it like project hell. You don't want to be in a project where you only said yes because you have only Juman in your bank and you really need a project, and then all they can pay you is like same as what you're getting when you're working, less than what you're getting when you're working in a company. And I had that happen to me, so just be careful you don't put yourself in those situations. But of course you guys are smarter than me because I'm like subpar IQ. Okay, so now Jack understands about savings. One more thing about this, why 3 months? Because there's a 3 months gap in Japan with visas that if you don't have a project within 3 months, you might be subject to deportation, things like that. Of course, a lot of foreigners probably don't follow that rule, but you just want to keep that in mind. You don't want to have any marks on your, negative marks on your visas. So that's the 3 months. Okay, Jack, you've got this. We've got the visas ready. The visa's fine. Your Japanese level is N2. You're great. You've got Next.js app router. You know what you're doing. You even can code Nest.js with Prisma and DTOs and whatever the next best thing is. What's next? Now next, we're going over to the prep department. So what are we prepping for then? I'll just like to check here. This is some real simple stuff, but you got to do it while you have a job, while you have money, while you have the income and your pension and health insurance getting paid. Spend time to make a nice CV in both English and Japanese, because you're still going to be trying to get those English projects. You're still going to get those Japanese projects. Ideally, you get that USD. The USD is going to be amazing. So prepare a CV in English and Japan. Take your time, make it nice. Don't have to rush. Just don't rush to make something nice. These are very important. Update your LinkedIn. Get a nice photo. Japan loves to see your face. Yeah, nice photo and do your wantedly. Make sure these are both nice. Link them both together so that they can see both. Check out my wantedly video. I'll teach you all about how to use wantedly as a freelance engineer. Okay, and LinkedIn, you want to use that. A lot of Japanese don't use it, but lately some are starting to use it a lot more, especially if they're gaishike or they use it, obviously. but you want to also try and get some connections. So, for example, connect with me. Not just there's a link in the description somewhere, but Tokyo, especially, I mean, all societies is based on trust. So if they can see I'm connected to you, and if they know Tyrone's freelance engineer, oh, he must know that guy, and then we get some type of trust factor. One of my things about Japan as well is, okay, I gotta edit here, Facebook. I know it's old. I know it's almost feels like millennials used to use this, but still a lot of Japanese workers use this, especially the Japanese boomers. Or not, like Generation X Japan, Generation X and boomers, they kind of use Facebook a lot. So connecting with Japanese workers in Facebook can connect you and get some trust going. So you want to social maxing. Is that what we call social media maxing? Don't do TikTok and all that. Don't show them you're on TikTok. They're gonna laugh at you and stuff. Maybe they watch. I don't know. And I don't know if I have a video about this, but skill sheet. Okay. You know if you know what a skill sheet in Japanese is skill sheet. I think it's skill sheet. Get a skill sheet. Make sure that's correct. I think I shared it with my everything I know about freelancing in Japan. Get your skill sheet and make it look pretty. Make it look good. Show them all the technologies. Show them all the soy stacks. You know all of it. And then the last one is while you're working, okay, this is really important too. In most cases, when you're freelancing, in many cases, they will give you a computer to work on, a laptop. It's great. But also you need your own decent laptop because in some cases, they won't give you one. And in that case, you want something decent because they might be running some heavy things. I don't know what they could be running that was so heavy. But another reason you might want that is because sometimes they want you to use like a type of VPN for the company's VPN, and then it can get slow and stuff like that. Oh, actually, that has nothing to do with your specs. It's more so to do with networking. Either way, get a decent laptop or PC. I know that a lot of guys here like gaming, but just stick with laptops because you might have to go to the office sometimes and you can't take your massive gaming PC with you. So ideally just get a high spec laptop. Mostly Mac is out. I mean, Mac or Windows, whatever. But the reason is I am doing a project. I don't have a Windows and there seems to be problems with what I'm making. So you might even want to, while you have a job and money, get a MacBook and get a Windows. Okay, prep's done. Jack's got it. He's ready to go. Next apartment. Okay, Jack, where are we going next? We are going to, next apartment is hunting. How to hunt. I have there's quite a bit of content already on this YouTube channel about how to hunt for projects or how to hunt for employment. And I will soon do one only for hunting. There'll be a whole video on that and how I do it, different ways to go, but we're going to make this real simple here. This is all while you're working. All this process is while you're working in your company, in your fat paycheck every month, feeling safe. Okay, register to freelance websites, even if you're working. Don't worry about that. You can even tell them I'm working, but I want to try and freelance, and they'll help you out. These like LiveTech, Findy, there's at least 5 of them that are really good. Probably there's so much out there, and I think that's because Japan has that middleman. There's a lot of middleman businesses in Japan, so you'll find a lot of even small tech companies also can connect you with a freelance project. They'll just take their like Nijuman cut every month. So register to, like, you don't have so much time, so just give 2 a try. And this is all in Japanese, remember, these are freelance companies. So this is after the N2 stuff, okay? Then you go to the freelance sites. You interview with the freelance sales rep, fill in all your information. Then they will show you some example projects that you might want to enter. Then you do the interview with that sales rep and you tell them, if I see a good project, I will quit my job within 1 month because you don't need 1 month. When you see a project you like, you can ask the sales rep to get you an interview with a company for that project. you will interview that project while you're working, right? You're still working full time, just in case. Then you tell them, if you guarantee me this project, I will quit my job, right? You got to be safe about it for visas and money. So they might interview you and do some tests. Okay, great. We like you. You wait for that contract, then you sign that contract. And at the same time you sign that contract, you notify your current company that you want that 1 month to quit. I know it doesn't sound like, it sounds quite rushed in some parts, but you have to put yourself first, because you don't have if you don't have a proper visa and stuff, and you don't want to mess that up. Your dream to be in Japan, you already made it here. Your next dream is to like become free or something, or your next dream is to live 1 month in Vietnam and then come back to Japan, or 1 month in wherever, and come back as a freelance in between the times you have projects. So you make so much freelancing, you save most of it anyway. So register freelance sites, get the conversation going. You also get some tips from them. Try to find people on LinkedIn that also freelance. For example, talk to me. You tell them, Atari, I want to freelance, what should I do? Or how did you do it? I don't know all the answers. I'm just giving you my opinion about everything I've been through. There are other freelance engineers in Tokyo who are foreigners who are doing very well. Listen to them, get their information. You can transition over to freelance, and then that's pretty much this video. This is everything you should be wary of before. I'm not going to go into taxes and all that, because that's, once you can get that project and you resign, that's some other things we must take into consideration. Okay, now Jack's he's ready. Look, he's got his happy shirt on. He's got his cool shirt on there. That's my video for now, and I would like to talk to you now about, okay, what's the point of time? What are you doing? Are you trying to sell me something? No, I've got nothing to sell, but I have started a couple of months ago. I'm really slow at this, so I've been really busy. So trust I'm overworking. So now I would like to tell you about a freelance community that I'm building, and it's meat and potatoes. Of course, I'm a meat and potatoes guy, and it's mostly for freelance engineers in Japan. So I did have a meetup a few months ago. It went quite well, and I got to learn about what people were worried about, and different types of skilled engineers, people working as engineers and don't know how to transition into freelancing, people with good Japanese, people with like not so much Japanese. There's a big mix of us out here, foreign engineers in Japan, and I think I would like to help people do what I'm doing now. So that's what this community is based on. And we have a Discord, which I will link below my Discord. Please directly message me. But I have to be honest, I can't. Okay, this is to be honest, I can't help newbies. It's really difficult. I have a lot of content on that, on people how to get into the IT in Japan, but it's so difficult to help new graduates or people from overseas. There's a lot of hurdles to that. So this is only, the Discord's for anyone, but the closed channels are only for engineers working in Japan. Okay, I have to make that really clear. What my goal is from now I have more time just with one project instead of two at the same time. The goal of it is to basically get direct to client. And if you watch my things about freelancing, when you go through you go through a lot of agents in Japan, and they take their cuts, and it's not even just about money. If you see a lot of my content, I do talk about why direct to client is important. It's not just about money. It's about making contracts. It's about negotiating, for example, full remote negotiation, work from Southeast Asia negotiation, work from New Zealand. There's all these things you can negotiate directly with a client. I want to do that. And of course, I want to target these foreign companies. And of course, I love Japan. It's great. And I speak only Japanese with all my clients. I, like many foreign engineers here, just would love to work in more a international feeling. And I know this is like some cliche, like diversity. No, it's not a, you know, look, I'm half Samoan, half a white guy living in Asia. I don't. It's not about that kind of diversity, whatever. But it kind of is in a way, which means that I want to work with international workers, right? This will be targeted to people who want to work either bilingual or English, direct to client. I'm not taking any cut. Okay, that's the deal. That's the great idea I have, but until we'll see. And then foreign companies. So I think that's the target, and I think that's quite clear now what I'm saying. So I won't keep. So I don't want to, and I just want to make this very clear. I don't want to make. I prefer not to make a company. I believe in the idea of a one man company idea. So just keep it. You are your own company, and as a community, we can help each other out. And there's so many times, for example, my project now. Of course, it's only Japanese, but they might need an engineer, and it's hard to find a good engineer, right? But if you're a part of a community of freelance engineers in Tokyo, and you actually have the skill set. I'm not saying like just some guy who finished a little tech course. I'm talking about guys we have at least like 5 years at least can jump to a project just like that, produce code and help a project. This is the community. It doesn't mean you have to be 5 years, just an example. So I think that's something I really do think is, I do believe in. And let's see if I can make it work. Of course, I'll be making other videos on this channel, but I just like that to make that very clear about the freelance community. And all links will be below in the description. And sorry if I haven't been able to communicate with everyone. Just so busy. I traveled Europe recently, so I'll make a video about that too. And but I think that's it. Everything you need to know before you go freelancing in Japan. That's me, and good night.